I'm Lori Walters, and I have a joint appointment with the School of Modeling, Simulation, and Training and the Department of History. By virtue of me having a history background, I'm probably the first and maybe perhaps the only historian that you will have in this speaking series, but I am very glad to be here. So my research areas really address terrestrial laser scanning and heritage sites, which should be of no surprise considering what my background is. I do love to document the life history of a building, and later on I'll go into depth as to what that is. And I also address augmented reality and virtual reality as well. My teaching courses, I do offer a Laser Scanning America's Past course, which is a history course, but it actually teaches students, and I get a lot of, actually I've had a number of engineering students as well, so I get a nice variety of students. So if you do have somebody that is interested in taking and learning about laser scanning, it's an undergraduate course, but it might be worth their time. And I also teach a number of variety of unusual courses like the history of the future and viewing America in the 20th century, which is a history through film. I've had funding from the National Science Foundation, the NEH, Microsoft, and the state of Florida, and a few others. And here you can see who my research partners are. I'm a member of the Sensible Design Lab, which is run by Dr. Kiter. And Dr. Miklowitz is a postdoc here with us as well. I've had some awards here at UCF, the Luminary, TIP, and one I have to admit, the one I didn't put up here, which I'm really kind of the most proud of, is I was one of those on Channel 13, those honors, where they come and they ask you to talk about yourself. And I thought that was really cool, so I really like that. So how I started was with Shadows of Canaveral. It was my first project when I came over here to, at that time, which was the Institute for Simulation and Training. And my background was the influence of the space and missile industry on the city of Cocoa Beach. That was what my dissertation was. And so over the time, I had documented a lot of oral histories and such. And we had digitized photographs of folks, and some of it's, their personal lives in Brevard County, but other is the space and missile industry. And we had all this data, and we said, what can we do with this? And if you look out at Cape Canaveral today, it's all weed-riddled concrete structures as what once was, at least I should say when we first started thinking about this, because obviously a number of them have been redone for the new activities out there. But I said, wouldn't it be great if we could virtually recreate Cape Canaveral as it looked in the 1950s and 60s? And so we had blueprints, and we had the people that were, a lot of them were still alive at that time. And so what we did is we had a couple of very, very small funds from the state of Florida, Historical Department of State Historical Resources. And we did a recreation of Launch Complex 14 as it lived for John Glenn's launch, and Launch Complex 3, which was for 1950 from the first bumper launch. And so we added a lot of culture experiences and everything into it. And so then we said, well, we can't keep redoing the launch complexes. What could we tackle that's bigger? And so we did ChronoLeap, the Great World's Fair Adventure. And we had funding from that from the NEH and from the NSF. And what we did is we since World's Fairs are temporary events and most of the structures are always torn down, there's only a handful that survive afterwards. We recreated about 120 pavilions, and we did a game about the evolution of science and technology from the 1950s and 1960s, and how they are, devices that we have today, such as our little iPhones and everything. And so it was for kids from, like I said, 9 to 13. And so then I had acquired a laser scanner, and it was like everything had changed for me in research. Not that I still don't enjoy doing virtual reality, especially with historical subjects, but the laser scanner changed everything for me. So we acquired our first one, which was a Faro Focus 120, S120. It's a very capable one. It's the one to your right here. And over the time, we acquired a Leica Scan Station P40, which is the center one, and then the Leica RTC 360. And together, this provides us the opportunity to do a lot of scanning of a variety of things, interior, exterior, gives us good distance and everything, and excellent quality. The RTC 360 and the Leica P40 are really provide us with wonderful point cloud data. The Scan Station P40 actually gives us survey grade data and everything. And the advantage to the RTC 360 is it's fast. It uses a SLAM technology, so we are actually going through and we are doing pre-registration, which makes our registration process a lot easier than it used to be in the past. And we also acquired recently a very small handheld device, a structured light scanner, which will allow us to do small artifacts. Like if I wanted to scan this for whatever reason, I could with that. And so from that, we did Mercury mission control. Big surprise that I would want to do something with the space program. And so this was what they had over at the Kennedy Space Center prior to their renovations. And this is set up. This is the original equipment. It's not on the original site, but we were interested in the equipment in case we wanted to do a virtual recreation visit at any one time. And so what we did is we went in, we did this with 17 scans, and it gave us very nice quality. This was with the Farah S120. Then we went to New York, and we went to the New York World's Fair site, and we did a couple of the pavilions that were still left, including the Unisphere and the New York State Pavilion. The sky, what you see to the right, excuse me, to your left, is 220 feet high. So it gave us very nice scans from this. But then, as we were doing the laser scans, I started thinking to myself, when we did, and this was the life-changing moment for me again, was the Cocoa Beach Glass Bank. And this is a laser scan that you see here. The Cocoa Beach Glass Bank was a very important structure in the city of Cocoa Beach. It was really, it marked their in the early 1960s when they were a community of nearly 3,000 people. And this is how it looked after its 1980s renovations, not in its early glory in 1962. And it really harkened to the space program and what they thought their future was going to be and everything. And so, we said, what is the life history of this? And so we decided we had acquired laser scans, and we did on-site photography. We got eventually blueprints, and we had images that we took, period images, documents, ephemera. And what we did is we returned it in virtual reality as it looked in 1962 upon its opening. And as we were doing this, we thought all of the different people that could assist us in recreating this, and also the information that they held about a building. That a building isn't just there. It doesn't just appear and then it dies eventually when it's torn down. There's all these wonderful nuggets of information that tells us about the community, but also positive and negative aspects about the structure itself and how this can assist in future building. This building leaked like crazy. It was created in 1962, and it was well before the sealants and everything could be there, that they needed to keep the water out of this. They actually had to drill holes in the mezzanine level to actually drain the water out that was coming in all the time. It was amazing the things that we learned about this structure. And so when we also wanted to do this for the historical record, because this building was torn down in 2015. And so with that, that's really what I've been doing a lot with my research recently, is doing the building's life history. We did the TWA terminal at JFK International Airport when we determined that it was going to be turned into a hotel. We said, my goodness, things are going to change. A laser scan of this must be done. And so we went up there and we worked with Langdon Engineering, and we conducted a laser scan of it. And so then I started to work with a number of other individuals here at UCF. Dr. Scott Branting over the anthropology archaeology department had this wonderful idea using augmented reality to assist archaeologists while they're out in the field, to help them not only document, as you see Dr. Branting here doing some documentation, but also communicate with individuals who are unable to go out into the field. And so we acquired a initial prototype grant to do this, and this we worked with Dr. Kiter and Dr. Branting. And so this was a great, this was a wonderful learning experience with the Microsoft HoloLens. And we recently were awarded a production grant, and we're going to use the HoloLens 2 with this. And Dr. Kiter had this idea about retraining the workforce, because we have so many individuals that need to be retrained in the workforce. How could we use augmented reality to assist them and make this retraining process better and more efficient? And so we're working with that. We're working on that right now with Dr. Azevedo and Dr. Laviola. And so here you see a laser scan of the basement of our own biology building here. And so what we thought is that we could go in and we could laser scan some of these areas, and we could get accurate representations of them, so that when one needed to do for the virtual reality and the augmented reality. And so this is just a point cloud that we did with the RTC 360. And so, you know, basically what I do is I like to laser scan structures. We do it, you know, with students. We assist other faculty members. And of course, for me, it's a historic structure. We're ready to do it. We're getting ready to do the Chamber of Commerce building, which you probably have all seen off of I-4, because it's going to undergo a significant modification. And it is a wonderful building that really says a lot about 1968 Orlando, and again, what they thought the future was going to be. So I'm pretty much going to end my presentation here, but we do have opportunities to collaborate. Laser scanning, adaptive reuse of historic structures. If you need a heritage documentation, innovative uses for augmented virtual reality, and you know, also if you happen to need a historian on a thesis or dissertation committee. So I think I'm just at 10 minutes, so there we go.